Good morning, everyone. My name is Alden Takaki, and I'm your host today for the today's presentation. Some of you may know me from my long association with and ongoing work with Harris Computer, with their meal tracker and nutrition point of sale products. But today, I'll be serving as your host for Identimetrics, and our featured speaker is co-founder Dr. Jay Fry and Tina Dunphy, who is a director of product support and implementation. She's on the panel today. In today's webinar, we'll share with you the benefits of using biometric technology for student identification. Leading our presentation is Dr. Jay Fry, President and CEO of Identimetrics. As you may already know, Identimetrics is the #1 provider of biometrics in K-12 education. What you may not know is that Dr. Fry was also a former school principal and school administrator, so he comes to us with a lot of hands-on and practical experience. Jay?
Thank you, Alden, and thank you everyone for joining us today. As Alden said, I'm a former principal of a middle school of over 1,000 students. Every day we were putting out fires related to student and staff identification, lost and forgotten ID cards, shared ID numbers, miskeyed ID numbers, and the resulting inaccurate records all resulted in a tremendous waste of time and frustration for my teachers and staff. What we needed was an ID solution so we could feel less stress in managing all we had to get done in a school day. That's why we created Identimetrics almost 20 years ago. What used to take an office staff hundreds of hours a year to manage now takes hardly any time at all. And those inaccurate records and time-consuming audits are a thing of the past. Identimetrics was designed to eliminate ID cards and numbers and use something the students could not lose, their fingers. It had to work with software the schools already had in place and needed to be simple and easy for the staff as well as for young students. And of course, just like in my principal days, I would only accept exceptional customer service and technical support from my staff, and they are excellent. Many of the leading K-12 companies like Harris School Solutions, Power School, and Frontline Education have chosen to partner with us because of the value we bring to their products and to their customers. We know that at the end of a chaotic day, you want to feel good about educating kids and running a good program. That's why our #1 goal is to simplify your school day. When was the last time you used rabbit ears to adjust your TV or made a long-distance call on a payphone? Nationwide, more than 1 million students are using biometrics every day in the cafeteria, for attendance, and other locations throughout their schools. Like you, their school administrators and technology teams are progressive thinkers who want to take control of their ID management headaches so they can educate their students and run their programs. And like you, the outdated methods of identification like ID cards, numbers, and visual identification were draining their time and resources and creating real problems every day. Some of the problems you face each day impact your time, like reconciling inaccurate and compromised records. Some of them impact your budget, like paying for meals that are questioned by parents. Some of them impact your students, like not having time to eat because the lunch lines are too slow. Some of them impact your teachers, like not having enough classroom time because of delays in the cafeteria. Some of them impact the administration, like audit and reimbursement problems. And some of them just irritate you and your staff, like those parent complaints. This all adds up to a big headache for you. With Identimetrics Biometric ID Management, you can proudly use progressive technology to take control of your ID management. You get accurate and efficient data collection, reporting, and audits by eliminating ID cards and PINs. Your students are able to eat and get to class on time because they are identified quickly and accurately. Your records and accounts are secure because biometrics protects student privacy. Your parents, staff, and administrators are happier because you've eliminated drudgery and stress. The real solution means that you have more time to focus on what's important to you because of increased efficiency and fewer distractions. In other words, peace of mind. So how does the finger scanning process work? The finger is scanned by the finger scanner. The software identifies unique points. Note that no fingerprint images are stored. The points are transferred to a binary number. The number is encrypted, linked to the user's ID number, and stored in the database. When the user returns, the same process happens, and the new template is compared to the database until a match is identified. The matching ID number is sent to the host application, and the user's account is found. All of this happens in about a second, with a false acceptance rate of 1 in 200 million. It's impossible to recreate the fingerprint from this data, and privacy is ensured. Because Identimetrics works as a platform, once the students are enrolled, they can be identified to any software you already have that uses barcodes, ID cards, or pins to identify the users. For example, it will work with eTrition in your cafeteria and ProQuest in your library. Schools find lots of other ways to use it too. For example, for student identification at athletic events and school dances. Identimetrics can also be used to take attendance for large classes, such as physical education, band, orchestra, or chorus, creating more class time. Schools are very creative in finding ways to use it to manage identification in a variety of different ways. I'm sure you can think of other areas of your school that would benefit from our system. Identimetrics is flexible. It's designed to work in a single school or across an entire district. Our tech staff will collaborate with you to design a deployment plan that works for your unique needs. Identimetrics is on the edge. Edge computing, that is. Edge computing takes the best aspects of centralized and decentralized computing. It allows the biometric data to be stored centrally in the distributor. This means that the biodata is distributed to where it needs to be when it needs to be. Enrollments and identification are processed locally at the edge, ensuring speed, eliminating latency, and bottleneck issues, and following and allowing for redundancy if needed. In addition, Identimetrics was specifically designed to run alongside your applications rather than integrating directly into them. This allows you to easily implement biometrics as an ID management platform that works with eTrition and other software applications throughout your schools with a single database. It also allows you to control updates without interfering with your operations. You have control, so there are no surprises. All biometric devices are not created equal. You need robust hardware that will withstand considerable use, little fingers, wet fingers, and the occasional clunk of a ketchup bottle. We've been testing a multitude of finger scanners on all kinds of fingers for over a decade. We learned that the typical finger scanners that work just fine with normal adults fail miserably with young children. We test and test and test. That's why we know the best finger scanners in the market today, and that's only what we recommend and support. USB biometric scanners are the most popular because they're cost-effective, robust, and fast. They attach to any Windows-based PC, laptop, or tablet via USB port. They are the best choice to use in your cafeteria. Our biometric conversion kit turns your Windows tablets into biometric mobile devices instantly. An outward-facing biometric finger scanner lets you control the system while the user scans. This mobility guarantees more efficient and faster supervised scanning in any location. This is a terrific solution for your breakfast program, your lunch program, or your food trucks and food carts, on the bus or anywhere mobility is required. Getting the students enrolled is simple and easy. Students enroll in Identimetrics only once. It takes less than 30 seconds, and the students can enroll from any scan station. Once they're enrolled, there's no need to re-enroll them again, ever. Their biometric info can be transferred from one school to another. We even provide sample parent letters for you to use. Your success is our critical path. We make it easy for you. We take you through 5 thoughtful steps that make implementing Identimetrics a cinch for you. Step 1 is orientation. Once we receive your order, you and your team receive a welcome packet via email that includes your orientation video so you know exactly what to expect. Step 2 is deployment planning. This is the technical design phase where we customize Identimetrics just for you. All the questions your techs have will be answered. At the end of this meeting, we will deliver your deployment schematic. Step 3 is installation. This is where we remotely install and configure Identimetrics according to our deployment plan. Step 4 is enrollment training. Not only will you be comfortable with how to enroll, we share all of our tips, tricks, so that you are confident using software and enrolling users. Step 5 is the final system check. Finally, we meet one more time to test the system, answer questions, and tie up any loose ends to make certain your first day is flawless. Identimetrics is solid, time-tested, and just works. But when life happens, we're always just a phone call away. Our team of biometric experts will escort you through any issue, or they will log in and take over if needed. We're set up to ensure a prompt response that's on target, detailed, and meaningful. Your time is valuable to us. We have a special customer resource website where you can schedule an appointment, open a support ticket, access our knowledge base of video library, our cheat sheets, and more. Identimetrics Biometric ID Management simplifies your school day and helps you and your staff perform at your best. You have efficient, accurate, hassle-free accounting and metrics with happier administrators, staff, parents, and students. From your seasoned staff down to the kindergartners, Identimetrics is 100% accurate, safe, and secure. Identimetrics works with eTrition and all of the leading K-12 education software applications. Our software is ever evolving. As a result, you always have the latest and greatest version. With Identimetrics, students enroll only once and can scan anywhere that requires accurate ID. As for our customer support and services, our only option is excellence. The frustrations and efficiencies of cards and pins are a thing of the past. Take control of your ID management worries and focus more on what you do best, providing an awesome environment for educating your students and operating a superb program.
Thank you, Jay. Before we open up this for questions, here's a reminder. We'll be emailing you each a recording of the webinar, a link to it, and you will also receive a 5% discount coupon for the purchase of any Identimetrics product through July 31st of this year. Now it's time for questions. Please feel free to add your questions into the chat window, and don't forget to add your name and your school.
All right, looks like we got our first question here, which is, how much is the solution?
Well, I tell you, if I could buy this solution for this price when I was a principal, I'd be a superintendent by now. But you can get started with our software for as little as $2,500, which gets you all of the things I described to you earlier, including the biometric software, finger scanners for both your first scan station and an enrollment station, and all of the licensing technical support and things that you need for beginning to use our application in your cafeteria or anywhere else you want to use it.
All right, next question here is, are biometrics safe to use as we return to school?
Sure, Jay, I'll take this question. Hello, everybody. I know Alden introduced me earlier, and I've just been quietly watching this fantastic presentation. I'm Tina Dunphy, Director of Product Support and Implementation. And the answer to that question is yes. COVID is airborne. There's not one documented case of COVID from a fomite or a surface contraction. All the leading experts, including the CDC, they agree that we should focus our attention on creating safe buildings by implementing better ventilation and filtration systems because COVID is airborne. Overcleaning our surfaces, it's not the solution. Instead, we can resume our regular cleaning practices, such as wiping surfaces as we did before and washing our hands regularly. Nothing different. As a matter of fact, so many districts continued to use finger scanning this past school year because of COVID. So today, in the follow-up email, you'll be receiving a short video featuring Dr. Joe Allen. Dr. Joe Allen is an expert from Harvard's Chan School of Public Health. And in this video, he again confirms the importance of addressing ventilation and filtration, as well as the need to stop over cleaning our spaces. So yeah, thank you. Thank you for that great question.
Our next question here is, how easy is this to set up and get started?
Yeah, so it is a very simple and very enjoyable process that we use to ensure a successful implementation from start to finish. Jay had touched on that earlier, and he did a great job taking you through the 5 steps, and then we brought you through the slides there. And once you've made that decision to use Identimetrics, we kick off our thoughtful 5-step process, and we guide you through, and we do all the heavy lifting. If you have a deadline, our goal is to manage the 5 steps to meet that date. So easy and enjoyable.
The next question here is, we are interested in moving forward. How do I contact a salesperson?
You can see at the bottom of the screen a phone number, and you can simply call that number and that extension, and someone will answer your questions, or you can leave a message, or you can also email us at sales@identimetrics.net. There's also a place on the website that you could go to in order to ask a question. And that may be an easy way for you to do it as well. And if you leave your email, we will certainly get back to you. I do want to add one more thing. You can always call Alden.
Right.
You can always call Alden. Alden is right there, and it's a great place to start.
Next question is, what if a student opts out?
Yeah. So when you become an Identimetrics customer, you gain access to our premier customer resource center. This resource center provides you with all the resources you need to communicate the use of biometrics in your school for parents as well as the community. So one of the things that we recommend is that you create a privacy policy, and we provide you with a template to use. And part of your privacy policy should exactly address opt-out, and opt-out for those parents who choose not to have their child participate in finger scanning. So for those students, you would just use another form of managing to their identification.
Tina, I want to add one thing to that, and that is you are already identifying your students in some fashion. So you would continue with what you already have in place, which is probably the easiest thing. And what we've seen over the years is that you may have a very small number that choose to opt out, who after a short time begin using more, either because their fears have been dispelled by seeing everything working fine, or the students have badgered their parents enough to ask them to participate as well in this really cool kind of solution and way of identifying people.
Yeah. So usually always a very, very small number, if many at all. Thanks, Jay.
The next question here is, can teachers and employees be enrolled?
Absolutely. So Identimetrics is a biometric ID platform We are a system, and so we work with all of the leading K-12 applications out there. And so, yep, teachers, employees, students, we can enroll the whole team.
Got another question here is, how fast is this process again when a student scans their finger?
Lightning fast. It is under 2 seconds. Identification and is under 2 seconds, and our deployment is geared to make sure that that happens.
Okay, looks like we have a final question here, which is there a yearly license fee?
That's a really good question. And yes, there is. The license fee is 20% of your purchase cost for the renewal. So it's not a very expensive cost to keep things in place and to continue using. And you can also expand. You can start with one scan station in your cafeteria. You can add a second scan station if your school grows, or if you decide to put in another serving area in the cafeteria, such as a salad bar or something like that. And the additional scan stations cost only $700 plus $100 for installation.
All right, thanks. It looks like all the questions we have today.
Well, I want to thank you all for coming. I hope this webinar has been helpful for you as you prepare for the time when our schools will eventually return to normal. The benefits of using biometric technology for student identification still stand: safety, efficiency, accuracy, and accountability. Thank you.
Thanks, Jay, and thank you everyone for joining us. Have a great day. Take care.
Thanks, Alden. Bye.